there, I hope that you're having a great day. My name is Kelly. Happy Friday. So I'm coming on here for FAQ Friday. So one of the frequently asked questions that I get is, does Reiki and sound healing work at a distance? The simple answer is yes. So I'm a very science brain person, so I'm going to give you a little bit of science to back that up, because you might say, yeah, that's great, prove it. Okay, I will. So basically, I'm going to talk about the twin photon experiment, which was actually published on July 25th, 1997 in Nature, and which is a scientifically peer-reviewed journal. It was done at the University of Geneva by a gentleman by the name of Nicholas Chisholm, and it changed the foundation for basically how the scientific community looked at things. So basically what it was is they took a photon, which is a light particle, which is what atoms are made up of. So they took a photon and they actually split it in two. And so they took that light particle, that photon, and they sent it through a fiber optic cable, sending it 7 miles in two opposite directions. So at the end, when they reached there, they were actually 14 miles apart. So what they did is they stimulated, or as they called it, tickled, the one photon that was present within their facility, or that was present at the one end, of the fiber optic cable. And it was responding as it was being stimulated. The one at the other end of the fiber optic cable, however, had no actual physical interaction with that particle. However, because they had once been connected, the photon that was being stimulated had the exact same reaction and movement as the photon that was not being stimulated. So basically, even though it was 14 miles apart, it still sensed the activation of the other. So to give you a little bit of history, to go back to the science of this, is that there were two gentlemen in the late 1800s, 1887 to be exact, Michaelson and Morley, and they basically did a research to talk about Einstein's spooky essence or spooky universe theory. And basically they were trying to disprove spirituality, that they could no longer ignore. And so the experiment, in all honesty, not to go into too much detail, but it was supposed to split a particle. It didn't respond the way that they thought it was going to, so they said that it was invalid, and they had called that field the ether field. Well, the US Air Force went back in 1986 using the same research, but they interpreted it differently, and they actually determined that no, this is valid, and there is a field, if you will. They called it the field, or hence entanglement was coined. So quantum entanglement, you may have heard that term before. Well, that's partly where this comes from, in that unified field, that source, God, whatever you want to call it, whatever name you're comfortable associating with it, is what exists out there. So for example, you've probably thought of someone and then they've called or messaged you, or vice versa. You've called someone, they said, oh, I was just thinking of you, or I was going to call you, or whatever. That's because we are all connected. And if you go back to the Big Bang, the singularity of that energy before the explosion, if you will, we were all connected. So as a result of that, when one particle is stimulated, as is another. So what I'm doing when I'm tapping into the distance healing that I do, is I'm just tapping into the energy that already exists on the planet, which are called natural ley lines. You may have heard of them. They're intersecting and energetic meridians that run all over the planet. So I'm tapping into that, and then I'm tapping into your energy field. So as much as in the third dimension, we have physical matter in the form of a body, and that takes time to move from one location to another. However, in every other dimension, we are strictly comprised of energy. So with us being only comprised of energy, we are wherever we need to be instantaneously. And that's the energy that I'm connecting to when I'm doing a virtual session. And just like, you felt, like I said, someone else is thinking about you, or vice versa, or even with mothers and their children. So to give you two other examples, one was that they were doing a lie detector test, and they were doing a split screen. So the one screen was showing the actual lie detector mechanism and, the spikes as the individual was answering all the questions. They actually had removed some cells from that individual and placed it at an outside location that was a number of miles away. And so what they did as they were showing this experiment, in the split screen, they showed the cells in the petri dish, as well as the lie detector moving up and down or spiking, whatever you want to call it. And so when they were asking the individual the question, they would see the lie detector move up and down. And as the, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the piece drawing those lines, the more it started to move and react, the cells in the neighboring split screen started to move really quickly and, jump all over the petri dish. So basically, even though they were not part of his physical body anymore, the quantum field, or whatever you want to call it, the unified field, was recognizing that we don't just have to look in this little box for cells connected to this being. We can look everywhere for it. So basically they were being able to pick up, or it was being able to pick up, that his cells were elsewhere, but still registering as part of, the vessel, if you will. Another example is most mothers know when there's something wrong with their children. So whether it be, they're down, depressed, sad, or what have you, or if they've actually hurt themselves, been in an accident, generally speaking, the mother knows. And the reason for that is just like that petri dish, which was a separate cell culture, the same is indicative of a mother. Because what happens is when the baby's in utero, a lot of obviously development and everything like that is happening, and the baby's stem cells are actually released into the mother's body, and they travel up into the mother's brain and actually plant themselves. So there is the stem cell culture from the baby physiologically within the mother. So it's like that petri dish in the mother's brain. So basically, wherever they are, they're going to know that their child is in danger, or, like I said, needs them. So that's just another example. And we've actually got something in our brain called magnetite, which is like our internal antenna, if you will, that helps all of us connect. Now, unfortunately, certain things have calcified the magnetite and inhibited its ability to, connect, if you will. Things like, for example, fluoride in our water has calcified that, so it makes it a little bit harder. So the more we get away from that, the more we are able to open up the magnetite and that receptor. Same thing with twins, they often are connected. Same thing, they shared a womb, whether they, their zygote was a split, or if, depending upon, because obviously there are all different types of twins, that, they were in the same physical space in the mother's womb, so they have actually shared cells. So there's a whole lot to it, and we've been programmed to only believe in things that we can see. But if you think about it, your food gets hot if you put it in a microwave, but you don't see it actually cooking. Your phone rings, or we connect to the internet. All of that is indisputable, but yet, there are other things that we don't seem to connect with. So that was the long answer, but the short answer is yes, absolutely. It works at a distance. You will feel it. And a lot of people are really actually quite surprised at how much they can feel at a distance, thinking that, oh, I didn't think I was going to, experience that. And then obviously you're going to be able to hear the singing bowls that I play and the binaural beats, and, hear the audio of me giving you a guided meditation if that's something that you're wanting to incorporate into your session. So Reiki at a distance, sound healing at a distance, any type of energetic healing at a distance, it works. So I hope that you have a fabulous Friday and a wonderful long weekend. Wishing you nothing but the best today and every day from me, Kelly, and from Reiki Releases. Much love, spread kindness. Take care. Talk soon. Bye-bye.